There is some trouble in paradise for all the crypto holders, as the entire market is in a little bit of a turmoil over one specific thing, a very specific thing. And it's actually pretty ironic. This man right here just took a dump on all of our heads. And fun fact, I wanted to put the video in of exactly what he said, but apparently I can download all his records. I can see exactly how many kids he has. But seeing a speech of this very important man, I can't find it. Now, for the last couple of days, we've been talking about some scares, right? Breaking data suggests crypto market may witness another sell-off. And we were talking about the rate hikes that were to come up, which, again, for this video, is going to be a rather important subject. And usually when we're talking about inflation or about the interest rate, we're talking about the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, of the US Federal Reserve. But obviously, why is that such a difficult word? There's a couple of other Fed entities, right? Here's, for example, the Fed's Williams, and he says the size of September rate hike hinges on totality of data. Now, this individual is the Federal Reserve Bank of New York's president. His name is John Williams, and unfortunately, this article is locked behind a significant paywall. There we have it. What happened right there? Fed's Williams says size of September rate hike hinges on totality of data. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York President John Williams said the U.S. central bank needs to raise interest rates to levels that cool inflation, but declined to say how much he wanted to raise interest rates next month. Quote, "We need to have somewhat restrictive policy to slow demand, and we're not there yet," Williams said Tuesday during a virtual event hosted by Wall Street Journal. Again, I've been looking for a rough 5 minutes. Let's not make it better than it is. And I cannot find it. Maybe if I really dive deep into the Wall Street Journal and look into every single crevice, I might find the video, but I think it might be hidden behind some sort of paywall or something, and I could not find it. The size of the move at the Fed's move at its September 20 to 21 meeting will depend on the totality of the data, he said, echoing Chair Jerome Powell's comments of last week, which obviously dumped the entire market, and people are saying that these specific words coming out from John Williams again today are adding a little bit of fuel to the fire. Now, Williams is a key member of Powell's leadership team, said the recent readings on inflation had been encouraging, but prices were still rising too fast while the labor market remained strong. The U.S. central bank will need to hold rates in restrictive territory for, quote, some time, end quote, he said, adding that this meant through 2023, pushing back on bets in financial markets that the Fed will begin cutting rates later next year. Fed officials are sending the message that they intend to keep raising interest rates until inflation cools. And as I've described before, raising the interest rate here is usually not that juicy for nearly anybody, except for people who like to only save money and really don't buy food or anything. Or I'd rather say, who really don't buy expensive things. Now again, you guys actually saw it, hopefully all of y'all. But a little bit ago, we talked about Jerome Powell at the Hall meeting. To be a little bit more exact, I'm not sure why I said Hall. Whole meeting. A whole meeting? Okay. An annual retreat, huh? In a whole meeting. Jokes. All right, Powell declared in a speech Friday at the Fed's annual retreat in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, that bringing price pressures down towards the Fed's 2% target was their overarching focus. He said they would not blink in their fight, cautioning that their efforts may cause pain. For U.S. households and businesses, the Fed's preferred inflation gauge is running at more than 3 times that level at 6.3% in the 12 months through July, near the fastest pace in 40 years. Speaking separately on Tuesday, Richmond Fed President Thomas Barkin said the central bank would do what it takes to bring inflation under control, repeating comments he made earlier this month. Fed officials lifted rates by 75 basis points at their last 2 meetings, and Powell has said that another unusually large increase of this size could be on the table when they meet September 20th and 21st. Policymakers say the decision will be determined by economic data, including the jobs report due this Friday, and another update on consumer prices that will be released in the next few weeks. So again, if you're wondering what the next most important dates are going to be, most likely this jobs report on Friday, another update on consumer prices that will be released in a few weeks, basically our inflation report. Again, this story has been going pretty severe for a little while. People are just on there, I don't know even what to call it. They're just chilling, like they're, oh no, what's he gonna say this time? Fed rate hikes won't bring down inflation as long as government spending stays high, this paper says. Okay, one theory. Here we have a little countdown of when exactly the next FOMC meeting is going to be, and what everybody's basically crapping their pants for right now is still about 21 days away. So at the end of the day, there's not too much to be afraid about. I actually had one video that I partially showed in my H-bar video that partially talks about the space expanding anyway, right? Robert Kiyosaki is also on the board of a couple of different things. Right now, let me go back. Right now, they're trying to prepare, not necessarily you, but they are trying to prepare for a crazy recession. You might say, oh, but they're trying to circumvent it. In my own opinion, they're not doing their best efforts to completely circumvent a recession, but that again is working with half-assed data. We don't know everything, so we don't know if they're making the best choices or not. However, people like Kiyosaki, which again you guys can't see for now, but he said in an article, Robert Kiyosaki says now is the time to get richer as epic market crash he predicted in 2013 begins. This is something you guys got to realize properly. Things are going to get quote unquote worse than they are right now. Most logically, prices are not going to increase anymore. They're going to decrease again. But most likely, a lot of people will be sacked from their jobs. The production will drastically be altered or at least lowered down. Things will become bad in the same sense that we saw in 2007 and in the 2000s as well. Maybe not to the same degree, but as we saw with the whole CV-19, the situation, in 2020 at least actually, we saw the market go down by about 30%. That was not even considered a full-on recession, yet when we're talking about 27 and 2000, the prices went down by about 55% or so on the S&P and on NASDAQ and whatnot. Right now, we just have to do a little bit worse in terms of prices than with the whole CV-19 situation, which is honestly not that mind-boggling. Right now, we've had a little bit of a squeeze. We've had a little bit of a bull trap going on where people are getting overly excited again when the underlying situation hasn't really changed that much. And when you start reading into what these guys are saying, you're starting to notice, hey, they're trying to change the... I have found some sort of grasshopper, I think. Point being, they are basically saying all around that things are basically not going to get any better for the time being. And you already know, when they're saying to you like, oh, things might not get better for a little while, expect things to kind of get a little bit crappy for a little bit, that means, all right, things are really not going to be that good, because they usually kind of sugarcoat everything, right? At least as far as I'm concerned, they always do that. Now, before we move on, make sure that you check out my $10,000 giveaway over in the description down below. First link there, and all you have to do is just follow me over on Twitter or visit my YouTube channel or just check all these links out to have the most amount of entries possible. We're picking the winners in about a week, so make sure you join it. And also, if you don't have an account on Bybit just quite yet, make sure you check it out. Right now, you can get a $1,000 Ethereum position for absolutely free. I believe all you have to do is deposit $1,000. Let me quickly see what the conditions are. I believe that's all you have to do, and then you are able to trade. Okay, so you get $100, you get it, which you can use with 10 times leverage, for example, to basically get a $1,000 contract for absolutely free, right? I don't think there's any other condition next to this except for depositing something, but most people have $1,000 that they trade with anyway. So what a couple of my people on Twitter were saying basically is that they got themselves this little structure where they claim bonuses on different exchanges whenever possible. But yeah, I think the one on Bybit is also going to be a juicy one. It's nearly sold out, about 18% left. But yeah, I mean, a free position, $1,000 worth of a position can mean a couple $1,000s you can get. And if it's free, if it's an airdrop like that, that's amazing. So it might be annoying that you have to deposit something, but personally, I have a crazy amount of money over on Bybit. I think it's quite safe. Met up with the founder, know a lot of people that work there. There's, I think, 2 or maybe 4,000 people that work there. I don't remember, but I met up with a ton of them. I can never guarantee to you that an exchange is safe. Please don't think that I'm using those words, because obviously the best thing you can do is self-storage. But I am saying out of all these exchanges, these are the guys, or at least some of the guys that I like the most, just saying. And so I'm trying to say I personally trust them with my $1,000, let's say. Never deposit your life savings onto something, but whenever I want to lose something, for example, just reach out to the support. Things get fixed rather quickly. But the second thing to kind of talk about here was, there's a video going around with Raoul Paul and Anthony Scaramucci, and one thing that the philosophers talk about is how this crypto space is right now at, let's say, a couple $1 trillion, and where it's eventually going to go to. I want you guys to realize that for a second and think about it for a second. Visualize for yourself crypto in the future, 10 years from now. It's basically unimaginable. Nobody expected 10 years ago that crypto would be here today, and nobody can really fathom where crypto would be in the next 10 years, as the adoption goes on such a strange curve. You can't really predict those types of moves up front. It's just something we as little, our tiny squirrel brain humans can't actually do. Our pea-sized brain humans. We can't really comprehend the future because, again, it's not written yet. And I'm a firm believer of the fact that you can use historical data to potentially predict the future, but specifically with events and, I'm going to say just easily, technology of emerging, emerging tech. It's nearly impossible to predict how much the adoption rate will increase over this time. We can all fathom, like, okay, what if Apple, for example, were, but maybe they won't get in for 10 years. Maybe, however, Apple steps in tomorrow, and all of a sudden in 10 years, literally, Apple has become a crypto company that's also selling some phones. But phones really won't be a thing anymore because everybody just uses this crypto chip that's in their little ring, for example, now. 10 years is such a long time. If you look back 10 years right now, 2012, if you just can understand the difference in phones in the last 10 years and the difference in computers, how much they've just gone crazy. And the fact that crypto was almost nothing back then and look where it is right now. Another 10 years into the future, so much can change. That is why I'm investing into crypto. The risk reward is so extremely good. Worst case, I lose some money. Best case, which is highly probable, I 100x my capital, right? Again, worst case, I lose everything that I ever put in, sure. But most likely, let's say I 100x it. Best case scenario, I 10,000 exit over all the cryptos that I'm buying as this stuff gets main adoption. But yeah, that's the way I describe it. With stocks, you're most likely going to increase your money over time as well. But there's always this risk of what exact stock market is going to take over, Is the Fed doing such a bad job that a different reserve currency is going to come? And that, for example, the Chinese market would take over, even though right now we're, of course, having some very big troubles over in the US-China conflict, which are obviously also affecting the markets right now, which are also taking things down. Honestly, that's also one of the main reasons why crypto is not exploding just quite yet, why things can't be nice just quite yet. Then again, I described to you guys earlier, we have seen a beautiful bottom for Bitcoin over at 17.5. We have still yet to break that. We're still bouncing off of, I believe, 20 point something thousand dollars here, 19.6 thousand dollars, $19.7 thousand here. But yeah, we still have about $90,000 as a baseline. Right now, I think is, again, another good area to buy. We still are not in that oversold RSI just quite yet to, quote-unquote, officially buy. In theory, we can kind of look back at, for example, 2018 and kind of extrapolate that this might be a similar sort of scenario. You can also see it in a couple of different other parts of a bull run, for example, where, again, the biggest dip is in, for example, here in August of 2016, and gradually speaking, over the next, I'm going to say about 1.5 year, prices are going to go up. And that's the thing about a bull run. You don't know that it's a bull run until you beat the all-time high, or at least get back into a continuous cycle of higher lows and higher highs. However, if you look back, for example, a lot of this price action, for example, here, through between 2017 December and our bigger all-time highs from, let's say, December 2020 on forward. When exactly did we consider that the bull market was back? If you asked me the question in December 2018, I would have definitely said, no, the bull market is not back. But, again, looking back at it, the prices did increase by a drastic 400% over the next couple of months. This is 200 days, it's a lot of time, sure. But then afterwards, the prices decreased again. However, in that time frame, I'm not 1,000% sure, but I believe we did not actually get below this specific bottom here again. And that is what we're referring to with this quote-unquote bull market starting again, that even though we might be just gradually basically going in terms of price like this, right, which is surely possible, as long as we don't take out this specific bottom. We might have another one big dip like this, but as long as we don't take out this $17.5 thousand bottom that we had right there, I consider all of this afterwards section, all of this I consider to be a bull market yet again, in the same sense that I basically can see everything from the lowest point of forward. If this is it, I'm not 1,000% sure, or if this is the lowest, no, this is surely the lowest. So everything from here on forward, I can kind of consider as bull market. It just depends on your perspective. But yeah, that was it for today's video, guys. I'm still excited about crypto. All this stuff, it's all charade, it's all fakeness, sort of, in the sense that they're trying to make you afraid, even though it's all not really that important at the end of the day. But yeah, that was it for today's little crypto video. See you guys again in another one. Make sure you check out my Twitter, as we're almost at 100,000 followers. Ooh.